So Mark Paquita, we did 5 minutes with Mark about ORP endorsements as our first 5 minutes with Mark. This is our second 5 minutes with Mark, and it's going to be on Josh Mandel. And I've heard you out on the campaign trail called Josh Mandel a facade versus a fighter. A facade versus a fighter. So I got my handy dandy stopwatch here. I got 5 questions. I'm going to ask you about Josh Mandel. I'm going to start my stopwatch right after I ask the first question. The first question, why do you call Josh Mandel a facade versus a fighter, aka a rhino? Go.
Well, Chris, it's because he's nothing more than a career politician acting a part. He's an actor. He's putting on an act. Look at his campaign. He's going to churches proclaiming Christian values and family values. But then when you look at his personal life, it's pretty clear he doesn't live those values. So that's an act to me. That's a facade. And then most of all, he never challenges the swamp when it matters.
So I got question 2 here, Mark. What's an example of Josh Mandel not challenging the swamp when it matters?
Well, about a week ago, he was at the West Jaga School Board lambasting and haranguing the school board members about mask mandates. And I agree with him on that. But where was he at the last Ohio school board meeting where I was haranguing DeWine appointees face to face on the Ohio network where everybody could see about their racist resolution 20? He doesn't seem to want to make waves with those DeWine appointees. And I'm thinking, wow, if he's not willing to make waves with those people, how is he going to handle the swamp monsters in DC when he gets there? And another example would be, we've got a meeting coming up next week at the Ohio School Board again. And I'm going to be there again, challenging Resolution 20, the racist CRT resolution that they passed last summer, demanding them face to face to take it back. And I'll be doing that in front of DeWine appointees, and I don't think Josh will be there. Another case would be the last ORP State Central Committee meeting, the Ohio Republican Party. Josh was there, but every time a controversial issue came up, he left the room. I mean, I saw him. We've got pictures. He's afraid to take on the swamp, even though when he's in front of people, he's giving them red meat about the swamp. So I just think that he's an insider trying to act like an outsider when I'm a grassroots outsider trying to take on the insiders. I just think what he's doing is a calculated act.
Okay, let me move on. Just watching the stopwatch here on question 3. What do you think of Josh's church, Bible, family values tour?
I think it's calculated. It's a calculated act. If Josh likes Christianity so much, why doesn't he convert? I mean, look at it, Chris. If I went into a synagogue and proclaimed, at the top of my lungs how pro-Judaism I was, or I went into a mosque and did the same, being pro-Islam, they would look at me as a fake, as an actor putting on a facade. So I think it's all calculated. Another point. Remember how the Tea Party got rolled by rhinos and swamp monsters who put on a facade of being, conservative Tea Party members. I just think that's I get that same vibe from Josh Mandel.
Let me move on here. I'm watching the clock. We're pressed for time. Right. Didn't Mandel do good things as treasurer, like the online checkbook?
Well, that's another kind of facade of transparency. Checkbook was a good idea, but the government entities that participated in it put their data in once, and most of them never updated it. He never went after them to get it updated. And so it's really has no value, and it's a facade, but he's not going to call them out because he wants it to look like he put this great transparency process in place when once again it was a facade.
So last question on my list of 5 is, how are you different than Josh Mandel?
Well, there are two things. One, I would never do what he did with Urban Meyer, doing ads using $1.8 million of taxpayer money to garner name recognition and doing buys at $50,000 to stay below the limit that would give more scrutiny to his spending. That's what I'd call a pattern of corrupt intent. And that's what got Larry Householder into trouble. but everybody loves to hear Larry Householder's name. But getting back to the main point of the question, nothing about me is a facade. If you had to sit down and have a Coke or a beer with either Josh or me, you'd be happy that you picked me, because I'm just a normal guy. I've had a lot of experience. I haven't only run for office my entire life. And I think I'm the kind of guy that people would like to have as a neighbor.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stop the stopwatch now. And we went a little over. That was 5 minutes and 19 seconds. So you had a facade of having a 5 minutes with Mark, and you had 5 minutes and 19 seconds. And I've had a beer with you. I've never had a beer with Josh Mandel. So, and I can testify to having a beer with you. Seems like it is fun, and probably more fun than Josh Mandel. So thank you, Mark Paquita, for taking 5 minutes and 19 seconds. You're a flip-flopper. You said it was 5 minutes, and it was 5 minutes and 19 seconds to address those 5 questions about Josh Mandel.
Thanks, Chris.